Hi, Orlando the Komputerguy here. Normally I don't get in front of the camera, but in this case I feel like I need to explain a few things before the video. First, this footage was shot a few years ago, back when Windows 7 was still a supported operating system. So I'm not advocating for the installation of Windows 7 now for general use, it was just the best option at the time. Second, the steps I'm about to show for troubleshooting and repairing of the computer are just as relevant now as they were back then. So if you plan on using this video as a guide, you can always substitute your preferred operating system. So with that, let's get on with the video. Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Orlando the Komputerguy. Does it seem like there's never enough space to work with? Take my mom's computer corner. That little desk is completely full with the monitor, speakers, and the tower underneath. There's not even enough room for the printer to be in the same area. But I think I might have found a solution. This is an HP Omni model number 120-1124. It's an all-in-one computer manufactured back in 2012. Let's take a look at what inputs you get with this machine. The left-hand side has a headphone out, mic in, 2 USB ports, a multi-card port, and the power button. On the back, we have the DC in, Ethernet, 4 more USB ports, and a speaker out. And finally, on the right-hand side, we have a multi-burner/reader optical drive that does both DVDs and CDs. So before I do anything with this, I should clean the outside at least. This poor thing is kind of dusty and dirty, so just a quick surface clean. Time to test this computer and see what, if anything, is wrong. Since this is a test, I'll only plug in what I need, like power, keyboard, and mouse. Let's turn it on and see what happens. Well, that's not a good sign. Alright, let's see if we can get Windows to repair itself. Okay, this is taking way too long. I don't think this is doing anything anymore, so let's go ahead and cancel this process. The process cannot be canceled? Well, that's definitely not a good sign. Time to use my favorite diagnostic tools disk, Hiren's Boot, to try and figure out what's going on with this machine. I have a feeling something is wrong with the hard drive. Either the master boot record is corrupted, or There might be something physically wrong with it. I won't know until I run some tests. Now that Hiren's boot is loaded, I want the Testing Tools menu. Let's do Test Hard Disk Drive. The first test I want to run is a surface test. What that does is check the sectors of the hard drive and marks any that are bad so the computer knows not to write any data to those particular ones in the future. If it does, and the computer tries to read data back from the bad sectors, the data may not be read back correctly, and the user can have corrupted data. No errors found, so time to move on to the next phase of testing. I want to load PC Check because there are many different tools available for not only testing the hardware, but also seeing what hardware is installed on the machine itself. So let's do System Information menu and System Overview. Okay, so this machine has a dual-core processor running at 1.65 GHz. Not bad. It has 3.61 GB of RAM installed. The fixed media drive says it's unidentified. That could be a problem. I should be able to at least see the manufacturer or at least a model number. The fact that the program is unable to read that information could indicate corruption within the boot sector or physical damage. I won't know until I run some more tests. Let's get out of here and run some diagnostic tests. I'll select the hard drive and leave everything on default. Uh-oh. That's not good. It shows a bad sector at the beginning of the test. That is not good at all. That means there is corruption or damage on the hard drive where the roadmap for the rest of the drive is located. So it looks like this drive is dead. But just to make sure, there's one more thing I can try. The last chance for the current hard drive is to try and see if HDD Regenerator can salvage something from the boot sector. Well, that's pretty definitive then. This drive is toast. Looks like the hard drive will have to be replaced. Oh darn. Now that I'm looking at the specs for this machine, I can see the maximum amount of RAM this computer can handle is 8 GB. Since I know there's 4 GB already installed, I will get another 4 GB to upgrade the memory. First thing I want to do before disassembling the computer is make sure the screen is protected. No point in damaging the screen and making the other repairs futile. There are 2 screws that have to be removed on this computer. One on each side. Here and here. After the screws are removed, you'll need a plastic card to undo snaps along the sides. Now to move on to the other side. Why isn't this side letting go? Jeez-o! It almost feels like there's a hidden screw holding this side down. Finally! That was way harder than it should have been. It's almost like the manufacturer didn't want anyone opening up this machine to work on it. There's the fan. There's the dead hard drive. And underneath this aluminum plate, that's where the memory is located. So there's more computer to disassemble. In order to remove this cover plate, I need to remove a few more screws. With the cover removed, you can see where the RAM is placed. There's a couple of heat sinks. I presume they are to protect the north and south bridge chips. And there's the BIOS battery. In order to replace the hard drive, I'll have to remove the cradle holding it. Here's the screw that's holding the whole thing in place. Oh, the screw is held in with a spring. That's pretty handy. I won't lose the screw since it's attached to the cradle.
2, 1.
Huh. It appears to be stuck. Is there another screw holding it in place? Maybe if I remove these two screws I can pull out the cradle. There we go. Easy peasy. Now that the machine is disassembled, I can take it outside and begin cleaning it up. I'll start by removing as much dust as I can from the motherboard. If you remember from my earlier videos, when you clean any computer fan, make sure you hold the blade still while you blow all the dust out. If you don't, you can end up damaging the fan. Then you'll have to replace it, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to blow as much dust as I can out of the ducts here. That looks good. The cover plate could use a bit of some cleaning as well. Now I can concentrate on getting the back cover cleaned off. I'll first blow off as much surface dust as I can. Now for any remaining dust or dirt, I'll just use a damp cloth. It's time to remove the dead drive from its cradle. There are 4 screws, 2 on each side, that need to be removed. Now the drive can just slide out. It's Christmas time for this computer. Here's the extra RAM. It's 4 gigabytes of DDR3 1333 MHz. That will expand the memory from the 4 gigabytes already installed to the maximum of 8 gigabytes the BIOS can handle. As for the hard drive, this is a 2 terabyte SATA drive, which has twice the capacity of the old dead drive. Since this is using laptop RAM, the trick is to insert the memory at an angle. Once it's in all the way, you can just push down until it clicks. That was easy. Now I should be able to slide the new drive back into the cradle, making sure it's oriented correctly. Now to secure it back in with the screws. Time to start reassembling the computer. I'll start by reattaching the screws that hold down the hard drive's power and data cables. The hard drive can be slid back into place. And resecured with the screw. The aluminum cover plate can now be replaced. Make sure all the screws are secured. Before I put everything back together, I want to make sure everything is working. I don't want to have to go through the frustration of having to unsnap the back cover off again. So now that I have the minimum inputs, I'll go ahead and fire this computer back up. Well, that's not a good sign. Nothing seems to be happening. I don't think anything got jiggled loose while I was in here. The power button seems to be okay. So let's try this again. Hey, she fired back up. Splendid! That's actually a good sign. The computer's BIOS can see the hard drive, but since it's brand new, it can't find a boot sector or master boot record. But before I start installing Windows 7 on here, I want to retest the hard drive. I'm going to test this hard drive using PC Doctor. Hopefully everything comes back good. Excellent! Now I'll load up PC Check and perform the same tests as I did with the original hard drive. Well, that's interesting. It seems like PC Check can't read the manufacturer data from drive. But let's go ahead and run the same diagnostic test as before. The hard drive passed the test, so I'll go ahead and finish reassembling the computer. Before I install the operating system, I want to download the drivers for all the different components. After Googling for them, I can see they are available from the HP website. I just need to select the right operating system, which in this case is Windows 7, and now I can start downloading the drivers. In order to make this easier, I will change the file name so I know what each of these drivers are for. Time to get Windows installed on here. Now that Windows is beginning its installation process, I can select the option to install a fresh copy on the hard drive. But before Windows or any operating system can be installed, the hard drive has to be initialized, partitioned, then formatted. That is what Windows is doing at this point. Now that Windows has finished installing, let's see what default drivers have been loaded. Not bad. But it's time to install the specific drivers for this machine. As you can see, I have all the drivers saved onto a thumb drive, and I can just install them one by double-clicking on them and following the on-screen instructions. Once I'm done with that, this HP Omni is ready to be used. The next step is to remove this current setup. I'll start by pulling out all the cables from the back of the old computer. After that's done, I'll start removing everything from the desk. I'm so used to flat screen monitors that you don't realize how heavy these old CRTs are until you pick one up. Oh, and by the way, I have a couple if anyone is interested in picking up one of these. Now I can clean off the desk where the computer is going to go. Now this printer can go into its new home. Everything will finally be in one place. Now I can start placing all the peripherals into place. Now the main computer can be placed on top of the desk. Doesn't that look so much better? Almost done. Just need to plug the keyboard, mouse, and power cable into the back of the machine. Now for the finishing touches. Since this is my mom's desk, I'll put all her little knickknacks back on there. Now I can turn this on for the first time in its new home. Looks like everything is working. And that's it. Everything is in place, and it looks so much better. Hi there! Just a quick update on what's been happening since the original footage was shot. First off, this printer is just not going to work. And these are the reasons why. These things are horrible. I must have wasted so much money on these ink cartridges. Either they don't work at all, or they only work for a little bit before the ink begins to fade while printing. So I'll need a solution for this. This is an HP OfficeJet 3830. This is what is going to replace the Dell printer. I rarely have any problems with ink cartridges from this company. Plus, this one is wireless, so my mom can print from her laptop as well. These printers are packed with tape to prevent them from moving around while being transported. They all need to be removed as well as any packing cardboard. Before I install the new HP printer, I need to remove all the drivers from the Dell printer first. To do that, I need to head over to the Add and Remove Programs section and select the Dell printer. After clicking Yes, I'll let Windows do its thing. There we go. The printer has been removed from the system. Now I can remove this printer by first removing all the cables attached to it. Now this can go away. Once the area has been cleaned and the rest of the cables are gone, I can replace them with the cables for the new printer. Now I can set the new printer in place. There's the power port, and there's the USB port. Looking good so far. Now I can finish removing all the plastic covers and power on the printer for the first time. Oh nice! This has a touch screen. This should make this easier. Now I can install the ink cartridges. First thing is to remove the protective cover from the cartridge itself. Then slide them into place and push up a bit until it clicks. Now to do an alignment print. On this printer, it prints an alignment page. It is then scanned, and from that it will align the cartridges. Now to install the drivers. And of course, once you insert the disk, you're going to get the pop-up to run the automatic setup. Just click on that. Go online to set up the device. Well, I already have the CD, so we're going to go ahead and use that. Even though I know the updated drivers will be on the internet. Yeah, this might take a little while, so let's just skip ahead a bit. And once you get to this point in the installation, it's going to ask whether or not it's going to be connected via USB or via wireless. Since this is wireless, we're going to go ahead and click that. Okay, so here we can either have HP automatically give the printer all of the network information, or we can do it manually. Let's just go ahead and do it manually to see how well this goes. Okay, so let's see what we have here on the printer. Well, that pretty much looks like option number 1, so we'll go ahead and click on that. Okay, so here we're actually going to set it up manually on the printer. Wait for it to search. And wouldn't you know it, it's found it, the first one. We're going to click OK to enter the password. And once you get to this point, you can hit OK. There we go, connection successful. But what happens if you forget what you have? Well, you can click on this that says Show Network Settings. And of course you're not going to see it because I have that blurred out. But you would actually see the name of the network plus the password. You know, for hackers. And since we were successful, we're going to click on the first radio button. And there you can see the model name, and again the IP address and MAC address has been blurred out for obvious reasons. We're going to select that. And now it's actually going to be installing the network device. Here, if you have a fax setup, you can do that here so that the printer can receive fax messages, but since we don't have that here, we're going to click No. And after some time, there it is. And after all that, we get a congratulations from HP that we successfully set up the printer. And a little bit more advertisement. But just to give this a firm test, let's go ahead and open up a word processor here, type out something, and let's see if it will print. Hey, what do you know? It actually sees the printer. Let's print. And there we go, a successful test print. Join me again for more misadventures in technology. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.